What do I really think about the new Hummer electric truck? A lot of folks have been asking, so let's just dive right on in. The new Hummer EV is the EV truck from GMC. They decided not to spin off a new Hummer brand. Instead, it's a model within the GMC lineup. The Hummer EV is insane. It's stupid. It is fantastic. It is fast. It is all the crazy things that you would expect from a truck with this kind of specification list. 1,000 horsepower, absolutely gobs of torque, over 300 miles of electric range, the biggest production battery pack ever put in a normal passenger vehicle. If you want a bigger battery pack than the one inside the Hummer EV, you're going to need to buy an electric semi or an electric box truck because they just do not exist in anything else out there sold at a normal car dealership. And a lot of the specs for the Hummer are just mind-blowingly stupid, mind-blowingly insane, etc. It is fantastically heavy. The truck that I was driving at the launch event with the onboard accessories, which were the dual spare tires in the back and their carrier and a bunch of other things here and there, according to the sticker, it weighed over 9,500 pounds. And the GVWR for the vehicle is well over 10,000 pounds, meaning this is a Category 3 medium-duty truck in the United States. The Hummer EV weighs more than a Ram 3500 or an F350 or a Chevy Silverado when they have a full payload in the bed rolling down the road. The battery pack alone in the Hummer truck weighs nearly 3,000 pounds, 2,923 pounds to be specific. That's more than a Honda Civic. And the Hummer needs that massive battery pack because it is wicked inefficient. 329 miles of range out of an approximately 212 kilowatt-hour battery pack. General Motors is really, really light on details, interestingly enough, in the Hummer. It's one of the things I didn't like about the launch event is that there's a ton of stuff we just don't know. We don't know the official capacity of the battery pack, either in net or in gross. But when you go off of the specifications from the EPA's website on the official filings for the Hummer, it appears like it has a 212 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack. This is astronomically large as far as modern EVs go. It is much, much, much bigger than anything that we find in any modern Tesla or Mercedes or BMW, etc. And it needs that because the economy is quite low. The day that I was driving the Hummer, I averaged between 1 mile per kilowatt hour and 1.4 miles per kilowatt hour. That is less than 1/3 the fuel economy that you'll get in a Mach-E driving it pretty aggressively. And the same road trip in the Hummer EV is likely going to consume more than 4 times the energy of the most efficient EVs that are available right now. So if you're out there looking at something like a Tesla Model X, which is pretty big to be perfectly honest, and has 3 rows, it's going to be about 4 times as efficient as the Hummer EV in very similar situations. But that's all because of what the Hummer EV is. It's this absolutely mind-blowingly crazy truck that does 0 to 60 so fast, has the long range, has the off-road capability, has the air suspension, the ginormous tow hooks, etc. There was clearly not too much attention spent on lightweighting some components of the Hummer EV. The tow hooks up front, they're absolutely massive. Same thing in the rear. There's a lot of componentry on the Hummer EV that probably could have been lighter if GM really had a focus in that area. But that wasn't the focus for the Hummer EV. The entire mission of this vehicle was to take it to the next level, to show what could be done with the pickup truck, and hopefully at some point in this process convince regular truck shoppers to try an electric vehicle. And honestly, that makes sense because if we are going to transition society to full electrification at some point, we need an electric car out there that is desirable to every segment of the automotive buying public. We need small cars. We're going to need hatchbacks. We're going to need SUVs and station wagons and minivans. And yes, pickup trucks, including lifted pickup trucks, off-road pickup trucks, stupid pickup trucks, etc. All of this is going to be required if you're going to try and convince everybody to move towards electrification. And according to at least some of the information that GM has released from their pre-orders, a lot of the people converting their pre-orders to actual orders for the Hummer EV do appear to be truck owners, first-time EV intenders, people that were not looking at other EVs, etc. So that actually is kind of positive. Now, is the Hummer as good for the environment as, I don't know, insert your tiny EV into this conversation? Absolutely not. Is a Bolt going to be better for the environment? You betcha. An EV6, a Model 3, a Model Y, a Model S, a Model whatever, absolutely. Those are going to be way better for the environment. But someone out there that has a lifted GMC truck is not going to consider those as a viable alternative to whatever it is that they have their truck nuts on. Instead, you're going to need something like the Hummer in order to convince them to give electrification a try. And if that means something that is stupid heavy and stupid quick, and just insert whatever adjective you want here, then that is what it might take. Now, on the emissions front, we're still actually net positive here. So if we take a look at some of the research that has been done as far as efficiency calculations for the Hummer EV, it appears that at the EPA rating, the Hummer EV has the about approximate emissions, tailpipe emissions, I should say, effectively, as the average new vehicle in America that got 46 miles per gallon. So if you can get the bro to stop rolling coal and move over to a Hummer EV, that might be a big ask, but stay with me here. If you can get this to happen, you have moved someone from a single-digit fuel economy on average truck up to something that has the emissions equivalent of a 46 mpg vehicle. That is a massive improvement. And if you're in California or another state that has green energy, typically a green power blend, then that number could be 60, 70, 80 miles per gallon equivalent. Now, obviously, you still need to fill this thing. You still need to fuel it with whatever power source you have. But even assuming that the power source is natural gas, it's still going to be cleaner to do that at the natural gas place and more efficient than to just pour gasoline in your 9 mile per gallon truck. Obviously, there's more to total emissions than simply tailpipe emissions. There's manufacturing emissions, shipping emissions, etc. And logically, that is also a big ball of wax when we're talking about something that weighs this much and has such an enormous battery. But if we take a look at the F-150 Lightning, for instance, independent research and Ford's research seems to indicate that there's going to be a net positive benefit to the environment after about 1.3 to 2 years, depending on which study you're looking at. And then that would encompass tailpipe emissions and manufacturing emissions together when you would actually net out in a positive fashion. That's not a bad deal. That's a better return than we find in some hybrids, to be honest. Assuming that the Hummer EV is going to take double the time of an F-150 Lightning to break even in terms of emissions, that's a relatively reasonable assumption given the fact that the battery pack is not quite double, but it is significantly larger than the one in the Lightning. Fun fact here, actually, the Hummer EV truck that I was driving on this launch event was nearly 4,000 pounds heavier than a comparable F-150 Lightning. Fun fact to insert here, the Ford Lightning with only 9 miles less range than the Hummer EV ends up weighing nearly 4,000 pounds less. 6,590 pounds is what a body-on-frame F-150 Lightning with the big battery pack is going to come in as far as curb weight. And again, the model that I was driving was over 9,500 pounds as equipped. The Lightning is going to have a spare tire under the deck, and that is included in its curb weight because the Hummer EV, there's no room under there because the battery is so big it had to go where you would normally put a spare tire in a pickup truck. That's why they were in the truck bed. But again, that's not the point of the Hummer EV. The entire point of this vehicle is to be that next level in crazy. And as a result, I would never buy one, but I have to say, I'm really glad that GMC made the Hummer. Now, would it have been more logical? Would it have been better for probably everybody for GM to have instead invested on accelerating the Cadillac EV or investing a Chevy EV production, investing in whatever other EV that they have planned? Probably. But again, in a world where everybody's going to transition over to electric vehicles, we need this level of crazy. And I think GM wanted the show car to say, this is what we can do. This is the level of insane that we are able to engineer. And we are able to engineer a truck that can weigh this much and do the things that you can actually do in the Hummer truck. So with that in mind, let me know what you think about that down there in the comment section below. Keep in mind that you and I might want to have a lighter weight, efficient EV. We might want to have a more rational EV pickup truck if we were interested in EV pickup trucks, etc. But not everybody is in the same boat. And think about those people that may not be interested in an electric vehicle that are now, in fact, interested in something like the Hummer EV because, I don't know, maybe they want to lift it and crush Priuses on the weekends. That's definitely something that you could do with a nearly 10,000-pound truck. But if they want to do that, at least they're not doing it powered by diesel or gasoline. So again, let me know what you think about that down there. And of course, stay tuned for more videos like this. And of course, if you have other video topics that you want us to discuss, you can sound off down there in the comment section below. And I promise we do read comments generally. We don't always respond, but we do tend to prowl around through the comments and decide what to focus on next. I'll see all of you later.